And today on our Wednesday walkabout, we're going to be doing some walking about both inside and out. We're going to talk about the importance of having evergreens in your garden. One of the reasons being that we like to cut them to bring inside for the holidays. I'm going to talk about ways to keep those greens hydrated. I think it's book gift giving time. I still can't get that Yoka Booka Floyd out of my mind, so I'm going to go to my office and share with you straight out of my bookshelf some of my favorite gardening books, and then just a couple of other miscellaneous things. So what do you say, Stuart?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, here's a quick gardening tip that I am noticing en route to cutting some greens, some arborvitae for the holidays. I'm not going to neglect those things that are in the ground. So on a pretty day like today, I'm going to be opportunistic. I'm going to come out here and I'm going to cut back any leggy pansies or violas. I'll do a little bit of deadheading in the process because I really want these to continue to look good. On warm days, they will jut out with some more flowers, but most importantly, like right here, Stuart, especially for those of you that planted your pansies and violas early, they're going to start getting lank and leggy. And I don't hesitate to go ahead and cut them back. That way, when they start growing out in both the spring and in the winter, if you live in a warm climate, they will grow out more bushy, less leggy, and more flower plentiful. So many reasons to still pay attention to the annuals in your garden. Now I know over the past year I've gone on and on about the importance of planting evergreens in your garden. For me, one of the preferred evergreens of all time is boxwood. But you can really see, you can start seeing pretty clearly now that we've had a couple of first frosts, why it's so important to have those evergreen beauties in our garden. From a design standpoint, they do a number of things. They provide winter interest that's architectural and will endure during the entirety of the winter, especially when their beautiful profiles are dusted with snow. But you can also see that as all of the floral color has gone, and even some of the perennials will start turning brown and dying back, that makes all of the evergreens that much more important, like these boxwood villages. In fact, so much so that I dropped these boxwood topiaries into place where the Eugenia topiaries were in the past because they were such an important element, and I really wanted their evergreen stature to ground and provide drama and height in the garden. Now, another reason, of course, that we like to have lots of evergreens is because we want to do cutting, because if you're like me, you like to use all of these cuttings in your natural gardening holiday decor. So I have been pruning all week, and no matter how much I prune, I never seem to have enough of this arborvitae. So I'm going to be clipping more of it, and a little bit later I'm going to be taking more berries from these gorgeous Yopon hollies.
I don't know if you have enough.
I mean, I know. I mean, feeding them this past year was one of the smartest things I did. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen Yopon hollies that are so profuse with berries as these are. So, Lord knows I'll have a lot of those berries and a lot of berries on my Nellie Stevens hollies too. But I digress. I came out here, and Stuart, oh my goodness, a seasonal infraction, because I still have pumpkins on this side that I haven't removed. I'm going to have to take some of those. I'm going to have to take them away because, you know, we have moved on. We have moved on from fall and Thanksgiving. So I'm just going to take lots of clippings from here. And I know some of you said, oh, these are going to get overly large for this space. They're going to get too tall and are going to really impede on this whole area too much. Well, no, because I want them to get tall because that will give me more privacy in my bedroom, and the width I can easily cure by this kind of snipping. So I need some to remain in the landscape, but I need a lot to remain for me during the holidays. And here you go. Here is your outfit of the day from top to bottom. My sunnies. My sunnies are classic Ray-Ban Wayfarers. And by the way, I know on Black Friday and also Cyber Monday, Ray-Ban had great prices on their sunglasses. I bought a pair for my son Jamie, and you might want to check it out too. So that is number one. Number two, my earrings I got, I think, at Target a million years ago. My fun fur vest, this was a thrift store find, Stuart. I got this at my local Goodwill, and usually it seems like when I'm wearing it, it's in Colorado, but nevertheless, it was kind of a vest kind of day. My top, I don't remember where I got it, though. It might have been World Market a million years ago. I'm sorry I can't provide you the link. My breeches are my favorite jeans right now. These were from Target, and I will try to find a link for those. And my boots, I've also had a million years. These are just Ugg Chelsea boots. They're tray comfortable, which is always important. I don't buy any footwear anymore that's not comfortable. And my belt, I think I got at Target many years ago as well. My basket, my cute gathering basket, I got on Amazon, and let me tell you, it was a little bit pricey, but it's my favorite one because it is really sturdy. I think it will weather well, but also because I can carry heavy produce in it, like gourds and things like that. So it's a keeper. And my greens are compliments of my own garden. So there you go. Hello, Kitty. So Stuart, last year we were prepping this room for the holiday tour. We might show some images from last year. But this year I am using my bathtub to water all of my topiaries. Now obviously you can do this with any kind of house plant. And it really is brilliant because not only can you really deeply water them, which means you don't have to water them as frequently, but you can also hydrate them, hydrate the foliage, by giving them, that foliage, a little bit of a shower too. That will remove any kind of dust, which is not only important for appearance, but it's also important because when they're dusty, it reduces the amount of light that they can use to photosynthesize. And during the winter time, they really don't like to not be outdoors. So whatever we can do to enhance the quality of light and the amount of sun, we want to do that. So consequently, a lot of my topiaries I keep in this south-facing window where they, I think, look charming, but they also will thrive a little bit better. Now, another reason I like to do it in the bathtub is because these can be kind of messy. You'll notice that my topiaries are beginning to drop some leaves. You may have some houseplants that are beginning to do that as well. Now, typically, I just leave them in here to drain. But for right now, because I am going to hydrate something else, I'm just going to set them over here. Can't follow me?
I couldn't make it. You're good.
I'm good. Okay, yeah, okay. Like a shaggy dog, like a shaggy dog. Okay, we'll shake off all of this. Now, if I were really concerned about the amount of dirt that might be washing down into my tub and clogging it up, then I could have done a couple of different things. I could have set a towel in there and all of the debris would have fallen on the towel. I could have closed, obviously, could have closed the drain. But for right now, I'm not going to because I have discovered that what I can do, Stuart, I'm going to magically appear here and I'll be back. Voila, I'm back. Okay, so what I do is I just take a towel And if the leaves are already dry, now I'm not telling you anything you guys don't already know, but I'm doing this just so you'll know that it really is pretty easy and not that time consuming. You could also, if the leaves were a little bit drier, that's always, it gets leaves. It is just,
it's a dices, it slices.
It slices. It is eminently indispensable, invaluable, both inside and out. And I find it just so, mice, praying mantises, and I just find it so instantly gratifying. And you know, I was late to the party getting a dust buster, but boy, now it has really enhanced the quality of my life. Okay, now I don't need to worry about this getting too clean, and then I can just take my towel, I can take it outside and shake it out. Now, the other thing that you want to give a nice bath to, and here I am going, and before, sometimes you guys, I have turned this on prematurely when I hadn't modified it to come out here versus coming out here, and I have sprayed water all over the place. So, okay, and I'm using cool water. You can see some of it come back up. Well, that's okay. I'm not going to sweat about it too much because I am going to put something else in here. And that is, these gorgeous boxwood reeds. I'm going to put them in here. I just got these at Trader Joe's, and by the way, they were $14.99 a piece. I probably couldn't make them myself for that amount. I'm going to put cool water in here. And then I am just going to let them hang out in the tub for a couple of hours because I really, really want them to absorb as much moisture as possible. This makes a tremendous difference. The years that I do it, they stay fresh for so much longer than the years that I don't. Now, obviously, it not only works with boxwood, but it will work with other types of greenery as well. And as long as you're filling the tub, why not put your other clippings in here as well? So all of these are going to get a really nice soak. Then I'll let them dry before I put them in place. Now, I have also read that you could use a bathtub filled with a concoction, a dilution of wilt-proof, which is a chemical that makes your greenery stay hydrated and fresh longer. But I don't particularly want to do that. I don't have any of it, and I don't particularly want it in my bathtub. Fresh water will be good enough. And doesn't that green look so pretty against the white? It really looks pretty. So I've got wreaths outside, and don't judge me on my windows being dirty, but it has been so bright and sunny. That's not the optimal time that you want to be cleaning your windows. So I'm waiting for a good, warm, cloudy day. So let's take a break here and do a walkabout into my office. Well, I have a pretty extensive garden library, as you guys have seen many before. Most of them, though not all, are here in my office, and don't judge me, my bookshelves are a little bit in disarray, as is the rest of my office, because I told you it was Santa's workshop. So just hang in there with me. Okay, I would be disingenuous if I didn't say the first book I would recommend is my own. So I highly recommend giving one of my garden journals. I just really think that it is such a good way to record all of your garden accomplishments and even your garden failures. And why now is such a good time to give it is because the new year lies ahead and you can get a fresh start on the new year with it. You can also tuck something kind of fun. I think in this pocket, I would put some seeds in there. I would put maybe a few snippets of ribbon to use as bookmarks. You could put a gift card to your local nursery. I just really think that would be a wonderful idea. Okay, the best, most dramatic idea, I think, would be to gift this with something I'm going to be telling you more about in the future, and that's that I'm going to go to Ireland next year with Garden Gate magazine again on a garden tour, and I think it would make a fabulous gift for somebody, and you could tuck something in here, but I'll tell you more about that later. Okay, so that would be my number one recommendation is my own garden journal, and of course you can also get it in the boxed set with the Elegant and Edible Garden as well. And one of the reasons that I'm not on the home tour, a visitor just came by, Stuart, and asked if I was on the home tour this year. Well, last year was a pretty big thing. So this year I've got other fish to fry, one of them being another book that I'm writing. So there you go. There are my first two recommendations. Now, along with my gardening book recommendations, as I'm kind of perusing my garden library, I want to share with you some of my favorite Christmas books as well, particularly Christmas decor books. Some of these are real oldie but goldies. They may or may not still be available, and if they are, they will either be very, very expensive or pennies on the dollar. But here are some of them that I really like. Number one, I want to start out with any book by Tricia Foley. She is somebody that used to be a photographer for Victoria magazine. Her photography is beautiful. Her gauzy effect that she gets in the things that she creates in her tableaus and her still lifes, really, really beautiful. This one is White Christmas, a gardening in white, and you can see from my little sticky dividers here that a number of these things really spoke to me, not unlike these holly bobeches that you might want to make for yourself. We have done that before on this channel. Let's see what else. What else did I I mean, isn't that just exquisite and beautiful, and another reason I love taper candles. So this would be a recommendation number one. It's a great Christmas book for gardeners. Okay, so that would be White Christmas. Now, what is both gardening and wintry at the same time would be The Garden in Winter by Rosemary Very. Any gardening book by Rosemary Very is definitely one that I would recommend. I got this one years ago. I probably bought it at a used bookstore. And why I love it, oh, and look, let's see, I'm always tucking little treasures into my books. Let's see what this treasure is. And this is exactly why, because you never know. Oh my gosh, Stuart, it's all, and this is so not planned, it's all in Danish, our kind of Danish vibe that I've been going with. This is a postcard from my friend Deborah that she sent me. Okay, that was not planned, you guys, but it's one of the reasons I love to put little treasures into my books. Like photographs, yeah, notes.
Planning for happiness in the future is pretty cool.
No, okay, that's a great way to put it, Stuart. So The Garden in Winter. I once again, I digress. Keep me focused, Stuart. What I love about this is it so clearly demonstrates the importance of using evergreens in your garden beds. It will give you lots of ideas. She was one of the first catalysts that made me fall in love with boxwood. But there's just much, much inspiration to be had in The Garden in Winter by Rosemary Very, and really any of her books that I have right here. So let's take a break.
Look at the titles.
Yeah, look at those titles. And let's take a break. By the way, all of these are some of my favorite gardening books of all time, each one of them. But we're
color schemes.
Well, yes. So we're going to take a break right here. Stuart keeps running into my hydrangeas. We're going to take a break right here, and we'll be right back with some more recommendations. Now, I probably misspoke a little bit when I said these are some of my favorite gardening books, but these are gardening books that are both seasonal and very geographically appropriate. I have tons, and sometimes, Stuart, we just need to give everyone kind of a slow B-roll of all of the things on my bookshelf. But some of these, this time of year, again, I think are especially appropriate. This is another oldie but goodie, Smith & Hawkins Forcing, Etc. Now that is very appropriate to this time of year. And again, if you are Googling these, if you are, searching on Amazon or something for this one particular book, maybe you don't find this one specifically, but you might find other really good books on the practice and the artistry of forcing. And this is a book that I would permanently recommend that you have in your library, because you only do it maybe once a year, and it's easy to forget what some of the tips and tricks are. Here is another, The Garden in Winter, Plant for Beauty and Interest in the Quiet Season by Susie Bales. And this is just a wonderful, these books are just, I think of them as dreaming books. You can just have a whole stack of seed catalogs and gardening books that you keep by your fireplace. You have a wonderful cup of tea or something, and you can just, at your leisure, you can go through and you can read these books. But this is another one that I think is really good and very, very timely. If you see some specimens that aren't appropriate for your zone, then just come up with a substitute that might be. For example, a lot of the things in northern gardens we can't grow here, so I might want to look at alternatives in a book like this, Texas Home Landscaping, including Oklahoma. I really don't like being an afterthought. I really don't like being an afterthought. Yeah, I'm kind of offended. I'm kind of, all of you Texas viewers, I'm sorry, but I am kind of offended. I don't like being the stepsister. But this has not only great design inspiration, but it also has lots of projects that you might.
Illustrated too.
Yeah, it's illustrated, and this might be one that you want to tackle. Some projects you might want to tackle this winter. So this is another one that I would recommend. Then some new ones. Stuart, you're so pleased with yourself. Some new ones that I got recently that I would also recommend are both gardening and art. I would really put them in the art category. Boy, this one, it simultaneously makes me delighted, but also very sad. So if some of you know Mary Jo Hoffman and her brilliant Instagram feed, she creates unbelievable still lifes with things out of her garden, and for a while she did it daily. Now she's had a tragedy in her own home, in that her home burned down, and now she's having to start over again. Probably also a lot of her inventory of things that she's been collected over the years probably literally went up in smoke. So I would definitely encourage you to buy her book, not only because it captures what no longer is probably, but also to support her on her new ventures as she tries to move forward and replicate this kind of beauty again, perhaps in a different way. And then you guys know that, as I mentioned earlier, I love the Flower Hunter books by Lucy Hunter. And this one also, whether you like it or not, you should get it just for the beauty of its cover. Look at that. Isn't it just beautiful? The English Gardener's Garden. And after all, that is what I have, is an English garden. And if you look at these pictures, you can see so much influence in my own garden from these kind of landscapes. So those are just a few of the things that are by my fireplace, that are in my garden shelves. Stuart just knocked over something else. Shame on you, Stuart. As I said, what you don't see is just a holy, is Santa's workshop. It's just Santa's workshop. But nevertheless, we're giving you a peek inside so that you too can appreciate some of these wonderful books for gifting over the holidays. But wait, there's one more that I forgot to show you, and I really want to point it out. It's called Wreaths for All Seasons. It was so interesting for me to get your feedback on which Christmas motif you really, really liked. And for me, it was the wreath. And this book...
So obvious in hindsight. I don't know why I didn't think.
Well, this book by James T. Farmer, it has such great ideas, speaking of boxwood wreaths, it has such great ideas for creating different kinds of wreaths for every time of year and every kind of style and every kind of look.
You really like wreaths.
Yeah, really, really seasonal interest. So you guys might want to take a gander at this. And again, I will put up links to all of these if humanly possible. And here's my question of the day. This weekend is going to be the perfect weekend for me to stay at home, work on my book, and maybe make some soup or stew. And my question for you is, what are you going to be cooking this weekend? Now that I've got my little alpine village to keep me company, I am inspired to do some of that kind of comfort food cooking, where again, you put on an old Christmas movie or Christmas music. My kids are going to be here this weekend, and so it should just be the perfect time for me to really, really get down and homey at Christmas time. And I hope you guys will be able to do that as well. See you next time.